This is Audio Galleries, conversations, connecting collectors and art enthusiasts. Audio Galleries. Hello, everyone. GM friends, welcome from a sweltering United Kingdom. It is boiling, which means it's kind of average for the rest of the world, but I will allow myself to say it is boiling here. We have had a busy couple of weeks and we are pleased to be back. I took a vacation in the middle. Hell yeah. And welcome everyone to episode 15 of Audio Galleries, a Rug Radio production. I am Benjamin White at the NFT 101. I don't know. Do I keep that? Do I change it? I don't know. Anyway, I'm your host, and I'm very grateful for you all being here today. Very quick disclaimer. Gosh, I hate this bit, but everyone has to do it. Right. This show is not intended to, nor should it be treated as financial advice. Please do your own research and make your own decisions at all times. And most importantly, stay safe in Web 3, everybody. It is also a recorded spaces. It will go on to become a published podcast. So a bit later on, when we invite people to come up and speak, only request to come up if you're happy for it to be published, because it will be published. Could you all please go to The Nest? I am reliably informed it is called The Nest at the top of the spaces. Not the Jumbotron, not just the top. It's called The Nest. It's Twitter, isn't it? It makes sense. And could you all please retweet the room, which is the first pinned space? Also, go down into the comments in the bottom right-hand corner, that little purple button, and introduce yourselves. Perhaps tell us what's been going on. Tell us what you think about the goose. The goose selling for $6-something million last night. That's incredible. We'd love to know your thoughts on that. Maybe highlight some cool artists in the space at the moment that you think we should shine a light on. That kind of thing. Before we get going, I just very quickly want to share something that we at Audio Galleries launched earlier this week. The Gallery Editions. A collection of small, limited edition curated artworks. So not big open editions. They're very, very small, limited edition pieces, which we've either commissioned or have been created in partnership with ourselves at Audio Galleries. Everything you need to know is being pinned in The Nest right now by Sigrid. Thank you very much. Please, guys, go and check that out, particularly if you still hold one of those old free mints that we dropped back in January, because you are able to trade up, burn your free mints from back then for amazing artworks by incredible artists emerging or established in the space. And that collection will be growing over time. Gives us a little something extra, as well as our open editions, which we're very, very proud to host in partnership with OpenSea, who are co-hosting with me today. Back to business. Episode 14 with Sarah Script, the second generative open edition in partnership with Audio Galleries. Sarah was an amazing guest, a terrific artist, just a fantastically wonderful, all the superlatives, soul. Her calligraphy style, knowledge of the craft, and application to Web3 culture was so much fun. We really, really enjoyed it. The collection is absolutely stunning. We completed the special edition thank you drop as well for those who qualified last week. Thanks to everyone who supported this open edition on OpenSea. The final figure was almost 520 minted. And after this, I was able to give Sarah her share of the revenue at roughly 4 Ethereum. And the artist's share of revenue is now something like $170,000 since we've been going, which is just mega. Really very, very proud of this. Thanks to everyone who listened, commented, sent messages, and minted, of course. Audio Galleries, very quickly, is an educational, art-focused Web3 project working to connect emerging and established artists with a community of digital art collectors and enthusiasts. Hosted each week, the show features an artist, either emerging or firmly established, who is focused on creating incredible artwork and making it available via the blockchain. I will put my teeth back in. I interview the guests, giving you, the audience, an opportunity to learn more about their style, their inspiration, their process, their previous works, and their future plans. And during the show, we launch an open edition mint on OpenSea with artwork provided by our guests, available to purchase between 15 and 75 US dollars. Audio Gallery's Mint Pass holders who mint this piece are also rewarded with a second exclusive piece by our artist, which we airdrop. And if you'd like more information, please follow Audio Galleries on Twitter, the Discord, subscribe to the newsletter, go to our new website, all the rest of it. I am usually joined by my lovely co-host, Tristan, but Tristan has had to jump to something important, very, very important and personal. So Tristan, if you listen back, hope all is good, and we miss you lots. However, we have also teamed up with Timepieces, and we have the Timepieces account on stage. I'm not sure who's behind it. It might be Tamika, it might be Timo. Who have I got?
Yeah, it's
Hey,
Tamika.
how you doing?
I'm good. I loved hearing how sunshiny and hot it is in the UK because I'm currently caught in the most ridiculous thunderstorm.
Oh, wow.
And trapped in my car with my dog.
Well,
so yeah, that's what's happening on this side
well,
of the world.
thank you for keeping us company today. I look forward to hearing from you again a little bit later on.
Of course.
Our artist for today, we have ArinaBB, an artist widely recognized for her unique artistic process. Also, her leadership in various artistic communities within the space. Arina creates paintings, performances, installations, and mixed media artworks. But she's also a pioneer in the metaverse, which, as we all know, is the realm of digital art and NFTs. She has been working to build bridges between traditional and digital with NFT collections that are linked to physical paintings. I love this. Arina's inspiration came from the time she spends in, or comes, should I say, from the time she spends in deep meditation. I could do with working on this before she gets to work on each piece. Her work in the NFT space has been recognized in publications like Fortune magazine. It's led to partnerships with international brands like L'Oréal Paris. Art created by Arina has been purchased by many high-profile collectors, including the Iron Mike Tyson and the wonderful Keith Grossman, previously of Time and Timepieces. Arina, welcome to Audio Galleries.
Hi. Well, you're timed up. I think that should be a thing. We should say timed up instead of teamed up for like collaboration with stuff. It was beautiful. We should make it.
That's a good point. Arina, how are you feeling? I read a tweet earlier today that said you woke up at 2 a.m. with a fever and you weren't feeling too good. Are you all right?
I got myself on a bunch of medication right now, and I'm feeling good
I'm
now.
glad to
but
hear
I'm expecting. I'm expecting in a couple hours to go down because my fever was like, for a couple hours I have it, and another couple hours I'm feeling good. So you caught me on a good.
Okay, well, look, we will go into this with big energy, and then you can crash later on wherever you are, and I hope you feel much better later. But I have given you an introduction, which I have forged by looking at your bio. But I always love to hear introductions by artists about themselves. So go for it. Tell us who you are and what do you do?
Well, hi, I'm Arina. I create digital artwork. I started collaborating with AI right now, where I run my paintings through AI. I'm trying to experiment as much as I can, and recently I got idea to put a screen within the canvas painting, and within that screen would be a process of creating this artwork. And I just love to experiment and try new things, try new approaches, just constantly moving and creating art in different forms and shapes. And I also love to put together art rooms. And in these rooms, everything is interactive where people don't have to solely look at art, they can also interact with art. And that's one of my favorite things of being an artist, is seeing reactions and seeing the way people feel about certain pieces, because every person reflects and sees different things. So that's
I
me.
love it. I love it. And you're not just in this space as an artist, right? You are very much a participant in Web3 and in the crypto space too, right?
Absolutely. I trade stocks, I trade NFTs, I trade crypto. I feel like that gives you a sort of deeper inspiration. You kind of in the fields understanding what's happening. And I love for my art to learn something completely opposite. So, as an artist, I like to study some economics or like history, not art history, like world history. So, this gives you different perspective, and that's why I love trading.
And just very quickly, like, how are you feeling about the space right now? Like, and we don't need to go into a deep economic debate, but I'm just curious because, I mean, it is a real roller coaster, it feels like at the moment. 1 minute, we're all going to make it and NFTs and crypto are back. And then the next minute, you know, we're seeing the value of things drop and we're seeing people leaving the space. Like how do you feel about where we're at currently in the timeline?
Mm, it gives me many different emotions. I've been in a space for, I think it's like 2.5 years, maybe almost 3 years right now. And it got to the point where I'm inspired, yet I need to find a good balance with the space to don't get too emotionally attached, because I gave my whole heart back in like 2020, 2021, and I'm talking about like buying stuff. I'm talking about community and just be like, I gave my whole self. And right now it got to the point for me where I see the way certain people act in the space and more things emerge, and the way some artists are being treated, and the way just, and I got a little bit disappointed. And it's not just like about markets are going up and down, it's also about human behaviors. But we're in this cycle where you can just, I think for me it's just step away a little bit, find a balance between being on Twitter and like trading and like doing art. It's all about this good
I
balance.
think that is a really good call. I have been not in the space for as long as you, but I've been in now for getting on for a couple of years, and like, yeah, balance is key. And I think, you know, you can't help human behavior. Sometimes people come here for, you know, with intentions, and everyone's intentions are different and everyone's perspective is different, and so we can't expect everyone to live harmoniously. However, I do think that if you can apply balance, I think you can very much enjoy the space and what's going on. So yeah, it's a really, really great call. Let's move into the art side of things, though. That is our real intention here today. I'm curious to know more about the art scene around you. And I'm going to frame it because you are well traveled. You live in the States. You're not from the States. You've been all over the place. So I like to hear about the art scene around people. But I guess from you, I guess I'm trying to get to the bottom of like, what have you pulled in from the world around you and your life experiences that has kind of like led you to create? Tell me a little bit more about that.
Well, I was born in Russia. I lived in a small town. I also lived in Moscow. Majority of my life I lived in Moscow. Then we moved to US when I was 15, and I lived in Texas. And then because of my modeling contract, I went to China. And I really, really liked it there. I thought it was very interesting culture, and I wanted to study Chinese. I wanted to dive deeper into that. And at the time I was 18. I wasn't sure what I wanted to study. I wasn't doing art. I did went to a music school when I was little, so I play piano, I sing, but I never painted. I did had a like drawing, but my drawings were very silly, and I wasn't really like, this cool art kid in your art class where everybody's like, "Wow, your art is amazing." That was not me, and I never could have imagined myself being an artist. And then when I moved to China and I was studying Chinese, my friend, she brought me to an art supply store, and I just randomly bought a bunch of canvases and bunch of paints, and I started painting nonstop since that day. And it was such a crazy experience because I did it not for anybody else. I didn't do it for sales. I was just doing it for myself. I think, like, now looking back at it, it was because I was lonely. I was so far away from home. I was so young. I didn't really know much. And I just occupied myself with basically books and art and studying language and just like taking some part-time jobs to sustain myself, obviously. And that was such an interesting time because I got a chance also in China to live in a small town and in like Shanghai, which is, it's different worlds where you like, it's completely different. So, and then I had my, I guess, art career breakthrough when my therapist suggested, like, you, I was painting for a couple of years already at home just for myself. Like the canvases were piling up, and my therapist was like, maybe you should try to put some art show together and let the world see it. And I was very, very fortunate. In Shanghai, they have an art district where there are a bunch of different galleries. And at the time, I also was spray painting a lot on the canvas, and I had such a tiny like studio apartment with ginormous canvases where I was spray painting. Poor health, I would say, like such a bad decision making. But I went to this to this art studio space, and I was just walking around trying to talk to people with, at the time, my broken Chinese, trying to ask if anybody is renting or if I can rent part-time because I wanted to do like a bigger canvases. And over there I met a gallery owner slash artist as well, and his art style at the time, I was painting extremely dark. My characters were very dark, and his stuff was very also dark. And he just was very, very nice and generous, and he just offered me to come and paint, and gave me the space basically to paint a larger canvases there. And he offered, later on, when I came up with, my therapist told, like, maybe you should try to do an art show. I asked him, and he was very nice again. He gave the space. He said, yes, let's try to do like a week or so. And you like, only from art sales you give me the card, and other stuff, like, just do you. And I put together the craziest art show ever. That was so interactive, so much fun, so raw. And it went viral because I started posting stuff online, and it basically led to, this exhibition ended up running for a month. That brought art sales, that brought just new connections. And it was shock to me that moment. I realized, wow, you can actually make money doing art. That's not like this, because I was not in artist community. Even in like Shanghai, even though I went to this art district, I only knew one person, and I wasn't sure how it all going and how it all ran. And after a couple of years, I kept on doing art, living in Shanghai, had another exhibition. And then one day I just woke up and was like, it's time to go to New York. Mostly because I cannot drive. I'm not really enjoying driving. I still don't have my license. I have a learner's permit. I'm trying right now. But that's why I picked New York, because that's the city where you do not have to drive. And I moved to New York, and then I discovered musicals and just many different cool things that city have to offer you. And that's where like so much inspiration came from. And then when my art style switched from dark characters to very bright, flowery portraits that I started doing, and that's also became very popular. I was very fortunate, especially uh, lots of females connected with my flowery portraits, and that's how I sustained myself, doing one commission after another. And it was such a happy time.
I love that.
And then yeah, and then I moved to a forest. So now I'm in a forest, and now I don't have no art museums, nothing around me. It's just a forest and the bears. So that's my art surroundings.
I love it. I love it. It's a great rundown of Arina's career, and that's fantastic. I'd love to know then, and I think maybe you just answered it. Maybe it's the forest and the bears, but I'd love to know, like, what or perhaps who inspires you.
Like right now?
Well, mm, See, I never give it enough thought when I write these questions down. I think now, but I think also like holistically, like what is it that you draw inspiration from? But yeah, go with now as well. Let's do both.
Okay. I don't even know why I said not like at the moment. It was okay. Out of everything, I don't have like one particular person or like anything inspires me. Literally anything. I can go and I can like that's my I think my one of my blessings because I can find something good and beautiful in anything I look at. And that being this way my whole life, I never had any like a huge like people I looked up to. I kind of admire things
I like that. I
overall.
like that. I I'm I'd like to talk then a little bit about. So you wrote this in your bio. I spoke about it when I introduced you. I always remember reading about Dali, and he would sit in a room with like a a paintbrush in his hand in front of a canvas, but he would have like not slept for days on end, and he will have perhaps done some hallucinogenic stuff. But don't do drugs, kids. And he would wait till the moment where he kind of like fell asleep, and he would maybe have, I think it was some kind of like bell or symbol or something, so that as soon as he kind of like drifted into sleep, something would clang and wake him up, and he would immediately paint whatever. And that was where a lot of his surrealist inspiration came from. You talk about meditation before creation. Now, I'm assuming, in fact, I know this is a very different process to the one that I just described. But I am really curious to understand your process of meditation before creation. Can you tell me a little bit more about like how you set that up, how it works for you, and perhaps like where that came from?
Oh, I love Dali so much. He's so cool. And so I ever since I started painting, because again I did not have a traditional art education and I was doing it for myself, I kind of just sat. I never used reference photos, and I stared at a canvas, and I stared at an empty canvas, and whatever. Like if you stare long enough at any surface, you'll start seeing little abstract figures, and that's what happened. I'm just sitting, and that's what I call meditation. I sit and I stare, and then I outline whatever I see there, and then I just put random colors. And sometimes it's not random colors, but majority of times it is. I don't really like let myself plan through or think through what color is going to be there, and then that's how it come together. And same with when it comes to commission portraits, I stare for the longest time at the picture of the person and kind of try to feel the energy. I also listen to their music, whatever I ask for the playlist, and whatever the energy I feel, then I just stare at the canvas again, stare at the picture canvas, and then I put the picture away and I stare at the canvas and I start outlining stuff outside, like my like intention, like first thing that I kind of want to put there, and and then I start painting the person. And that's how actually I discovered my floral art style at the time, because I just looked at the picture of, it was two girls and their puppy at their home, and all of a sudden I just like saw in my head like a garden. Like they gave me such a warm like feeling that it transferred into flowers. So that's my art process.
It sounds like an amazing process. I love the idea of like staring until something presents itself. I reminds me of kind of like storybooks from childhood, you know, like magical moments where like in the moment where you're just not sure what you're going to do, something suddenly presents itself. I think that is a really beautiful way to create. I wish I could do it. Apparently no amount of staring works for me. um, anyway,
That actually, I think you could try it. Like, just splash some stuff and like look, and just like don't think. I think people very often overthink stuff, or like just like don't think, and you'll create beautiful thing.
that is great advice. Don't think. Don't think, anyone. Let's talk a bit about Web3. I would love to know how you discovered the space, how you discovered NFTs. Was there a person? Was there a blog? Was there a article? Like what happened that made you suddenly find this world of Web3?
Um, so during back in 2019, 2020, I was trading stocks on top of my art. And like, I think in September 2020, one of my friends, he actually was like, "Hey, have you heard of NFTs? I think your art would do very well there." And he told me about Nifty Gateway. And I went there and I couldn't figure out how to, because I wasn't in crypto whatsoever. So I couldn't figure out how to like put your art on sale. And I didn't see the page with like artist application there, where you're like, "Oh, I wish I did at the time." So I was like, whatever. So I closed that and forgot about NFTs for I think 5 months or so. And then one of my friends from like a stocks group chat, uh, we had like an app similar to Twitter, but there you can only tweet stuff about stocks, which is was very fun and convenient. And somebody on that like mini app tweeted that said that they have an Clubhouse invite, and this random person who I never met before gave me this Clubhouse invite because we were on this small app with tiny community. And that's where I saw a room about NFTs. And since I heard about it a couple months ago, I was very interested. And that was NFTs.tips. And they explained so well, like they onboarded so many people step by step, how to create MetaMask, the security, create a get a hardware wallet, how to put your artwork. And at the time, it was like mostly OpenSea, like Rarible Foundation. And I got on Rarible. That was one of my favorite platforms at the time. And I remember also one of my first NFTs that I did. It was an addition. I texted to this person who gave me Clubhouse invite. I'm like, "Hey, if you create a crypto wallet, I can send you this. Thank you so much." So, and then we like stayed in touch, exchanged Instagram. So it was very, very fun. And yeah, through the Clubhouse and through onboarding and slow explanation on how to do stuff, because there was at the time there wasn't any like YouTube videos that explained it very well, and that's how I got in.
Really, really interesting. And so, I mean, these routes into Web3, they're all so varied. Like I found Web3 through Instagram, and I think it was because I was at a point where I was like, I was deciding that I was going to take a bit of a career break. And of course, what do you do when you take a career break? You start looking at other careers. And so I was looking on all kinds of Instagram profiles, and then stuff just started appearing about like people minting apes for, you know, and selling apes for tens of thousands, as it was then, dollars. And I was just really, really intrigued at what could be going on, and then very, very quickly realized actually there was a whole different thing going on to what Instagram would have you believe at the time. But hearing all of these origin stories, I really enjoy it. I think someone somewhere should try and interview a really good like cross section of the community and gather loads of these introductions to the space, and maybe start to kind of like filter through which ones work best, because I do think that there are things that we just don't realize on board really well, that we could probably kind of like apply ourselves to a little bit more. Very quickly, everyone, before we continue, I'm going to play my very annoying little jingle.
Artist Edition is live.
And that means that the mint for Arina's wonderful artwork is now live. Missed yet another generational wealth train. There's a title, Arina. But it's live right now. If you go to OpenSea's homepage, you can go to the notable collections section where you can see it is shown. It's also shown in the drop section. I think Sigrid is and has just added a tweet to the nest. And you can also go to the Audio Gallery's Discord to find the official link. This is a wonderfully beautiful, creatively exciting, vibrant, mad. I really, really enjoy it like a piece of artwork. So I'm going to ask Arina to speak about it in a moment. Before I do, it's 0.015 Ethereum. Oh gosh, a number have already been minted. That's great. It's a great piece. It's available for the next 72 hours on OpenSea Drops, which is great. Thank you again to OpenSea for your support. And Then following that, anyone who mints and holds this piece and also holds an Audio Galleries mint pass. If you have the two in the same wallet, I take a snapshot next Tuesday, I think. And then following that snapshot within 7 days, I will airdrop you the second, very similar but different colorways and a few different little tweaks, artwork by Arina as a special limited edition as well. So Arina, congratulations, first of all. It's a really, really beautiful piece. Thank you so much for sharing it and minting it with us. I am really intrigued to hear about the kind of origin story, perhaps the inspiration for this piece.
The name speaks for itself. Mist is another generational wealth train. It was inspired by everything that's happening in the space. And this piece, I took a little bit different of an approach compared to any other stuff that I do normally. Because normally, as I mentioned, I sit and I meditate and then I just outline and after that I give a name. But with this piece, I was scrolling on Twitter, and at the time there was a meme coin craze happening, and this missed feeling of missing out that's coming through the space all the time. You can feel it every day, even if it's in a bull market and a bear market. Every single day, people are mentioning that they miss this, they miss that, and as I was scrolling, I was like, wow, missed yet another generational wealth strain. We're all been there. And from the name, then I started to create a digital artwork on an iPad, and I saw this figure, and it was in a hoodie, and then the train coming, and it's kind of screaming as it's staying on the station, and it's so confused and tired at the same time, hopeful. And I kind of think that I didn't think about it when I was painting, but then when I looked at it a couple weeks later, it got me thinking about how one train leaving the station and then another one is always coming in. There is always going to be another opportunity. There's always going to be another thing, but that's going to be a different train. That's going to be a different experience. And you never know where, like, life is so beautifully chaotic. You never know where you're going to jump in and what's going to be there. Like we talked about how I got into NFT space, right? And at the time I felt so lonely because I was creating art and I wasn't in like an New York City art community much. I was just painting commissions home every day, just painting all day long. And then Web3 train gave me opportunity to connect with so many wonderful artists. And then at the time it was like only artists on my like Twitter timeline when I just got it. And then I started trading stuff, and then it's just so many things. And then I think we need to, again, back to the balance, find the balance and don't be too hard on ourselves when we missed opportunity, when we sold too late or sold too early. We all know this feeling, and just we need to be kinder to ourselves and give each other like a break. And yeah, that's where the inspiration came from.
I think it's wonderful, and thank you so much for that breakdown there. There are so many elements, and actually the more I look at it, the more things I see. So I've only just noticed that there are dollar bills coming out in the steam from the train. And I've also just noticed that on the front of the train, there are two eyes. And in fact, eyes and symbols like on the forehead, as you may have mentioned, or I think I might have mentioned in your bio, like in your introduction a bit earlier, they're really common themes or common like attributes to your artwork. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? Like, I'm particularly the forehead thing. Like, you always put like a symbol on the forehead of your. I think it might just be your female characters, right? Can you give us a bit more information about that?
It's a soul. Anything you see on the forehead, sometimes it's like a triangle, sometimes it's eyes, sometimes it's square. Like every time it's different, but that's how I represent a soul of a character. And when I do a portrait of multiple people, especially when it's a family, I draw a line that connects all of those souls. So anything that you ever see on my artwork on a forehead, that's a soul.
Thank you for the clarification. Really, really beautiful. Like, I'm so very grateful that you have shared this one with us. I think it's fantastic. We're already at 65 minted, Arina, so well done. Thank you. I think the community also resonate with this piece. It's really beautiful. I am curious to know This is one of those questions I ask people, and I wonder if it's like a bit of a cheesy question because you're never going to say something bad about it. But I'm curious nonetheless. What does it mean, like being an artist, being a creative? What does that mean to you?
It means freedom. I always use it. Sometimes I think maybe that's why I love being an artist, because I use it as an excuse for everything. I did something. You do something silly. Oh, it's because I'm an artist. You can be as weird as you want, and then you'd be like, I'm an artist. Like, what are you talking about, Arina? Why were you like? Why did you do that? Because I'm an artist. Why did you go there? Because I'm drawing inspiration. Why, like, anything? Because I'm an artist. So that's
That
why.
sounds good. It's like a great get out of jail free card, right? You can just be as
Pretty much.
crazy and off the wall as you like.
Yeah, it's just kind of like, at least with me, it removes this wall in your head that like you have to be certain way, you have to do certain thing, you have to dress certain way, and sometimes it's very hard to switch. I don't know, like dressing styles or like do it's extremely hard. And that's also like back to Salvador Dali, for instance. Like he was so good at being like coolly weird, and I think that's awesome.
Great. Great. Coolly weird. I think that's awesome. And I think, I've spoken to quite a few artists in the space who all have a really, really similar perception. And I think this is what's drawing so much for me anyway. Like we talk about the roller coaster of Web3, but actually one of the things I observe is that people have in this space have permission to be a bit wild. And that's probably something that like I don't feel like people have had permission to be like that before. And you no longer need to ask for permission to just give something a go. And it's like that old
Mhm.
adage that if you fuck around it, you might find out. Which,
I actually want to warn, like with me, it was a little bit opposite, because before, again, like was very lonely creating home and doing all the wild things. But when I got into Web3, I still like kind of do whatever I want. But I've noticed in the past, again, 3 years is quite a long time. Like it's just I started to, you see the way people do things, and sometimes because you spend so much time on Twitter and so much time seeing different artists every single day doing different things, or like traders and like collectors, that impacts you, and it's kind of like putting you in some sort of box. So for any artist listening right now, like be very careful, curate your timeline, and also um, just don't overwhelm yourself with art, because that can be extremely dangerous. So with me, it got to the point where I was a little bit burned out because I saw so much art happening and so many like wild things that I did an opposite what I used to do. I kind of was like, okay, I need to be a certain way because that's the certain way of Web3 is. That's how I should be. And now I'm slowly again like getting out of it fully and being like my completely weird self. But that's like the stage I went through. So be careful,
that's
everyone.
fascinating. And also like a really, really, another really good point. Perhaps there is so much creativity in the space that it can become a little bit overwhelming. Really, really interesting. My goodness me, this time has flown by. It's so lovely speaking to you. Let's talk very quickly. I'd like to know, and then perhaps some people can request to come up. And I know Doug has always got a question or two, and perhaps Tamika wants to ask a couple of things. But I'm really I'm curious to know about your plans for the future, Arina. Like, what's the plan in Web3 or in life generally as an artist for you?
I want to my lifetime goal, the biggest thing of my entire thing is I want to set my art in space. I want it to be on a rocket as like a metal sheet. I know it's been done already. By I'm pretty sure it was SpaceX, on a metal sheet, not like on a flat driver. Like I want it to be as part of rocket. So I wanted to. That's my biggest thing. But for a year, like this year, I want to experiment with, as I said, thank you X, incredible artist. He's been doing it since very beginning of his NFT journey. As I just like saw it, he puts screens on like on his physical canvases, and it's so cool. And I wanted to try it for the longest time, and then I realized, but like that's his thing. And then as I was looking at it, I was like, what is my thing? And then this year I had this performance art piece where I put my canvas painting on a tree for a year. It's outside, it's been bit up, by the nature, by the snowstorms, rainstorms, and I was recording the process of it, kind of being like this whole cycle of it getting destroyed, and I wasn't sure what to do with it at the end. Like, yes, I have this a video, but what's next? So and then I got an idea to like glue it to a canvas and then cut a hole and put the screen with the video of this entire process, how it got destroyed, and then you can see how it got destroyed and then see the painting at the same time. So, and I love creating videos of painting process, and I think that's going to be my thing in the future, where I like paint on canvas and then put the screen, and that's how it all can be like NFT-ish. And also AI, love AI, love like working with it, love running my art through AI, because the way it sees it, it's like a loophole of inspiration. I create a painting, run it through AI. AI give me some painting ideas. I create another painting. So it's just never ending cycle. And that's my plans. And maybe collaborate with more brands this year. And this
I
is
love it. And I agree. Like, I think AI is a gift to artists. I think it is such an incredible tool in terms of being able to like feed your existing work in and be presented with something like an interpretation that looks at your work and then considers the rest of the internet or a particular data set. I think that is so exciting, like longer term. And anyone that is really, really like feeling constricted or concerned about AI, I really do think they should like listen to that part of this podcast going forward, because I love the fact that you really have embraced it in that way, Arina. I think it's super excited. Okay, well, look, I'm going to ask you some really, really quick fire questions because I love to ask them. In the meantime, if anyone wants to come up and ask a question or just speak with Arina on any level, then please, now is the moment to request to come up. But Arina, very, very quickly, I'd love to know your favorite movie.
Fight Club. I don't know. I haven't seen it in years, but when you ask this right now, that's what came up in my
You are
brain.
the second of 15 guests to say it.
That's so weird
Cychrome
because
said it too.
That's so crazy, because I think last time I saw it was back in like 2015, 13, and I never like saw it again. But when you asked it right now, my brain was like Fight Club.
Such a
That
good
was so
movie.
weird.
Such a good book too. Like, honestly, I think I saw it and then read it, but I wish I'd done it the other way around. It's fantastic. But great choice, great choice. Okay, next question. Favorite book?
Oh, I'm a bookworm. It's kind of
I
it's
had a
really
feeling you might be.
hard. Yeah, no, I'm sorry, I cannot answer that. It's like too hard. I
Okay.
used to when I was younger, I used to always say I just like love Dostoevsky, but
Holy
now it
moly.
was just like my scapegoat.
That's heavy.
That was like exactly, because like I used to adore it, and then I reread certain books like a year ago, and then I also like got deeper into this. I'm like okay. But now I'm reading Victor Hugo, The Man Who Loves, and it's an incredible book as well.
Oh,
So.
very good. Yeah, beautiful. Your favorite fictional character?
Oh my god, I'm so bad at it. I don't have it. I don't have favorite fictional
No,
character.
okay. Don't worry. I won't push. Your favorite brand? What brands do you enjoy?
Oh my goodness. I also don't have favorite. Like I don't have favorites. I love Vivian Westwood necklaces, as I'm
There you
looking at
go.
one right now.
That's a brand. Okay, well, look, I won't push you for any more favorites, but I am curious to know which NFT in your collection would be, if you could only choose one, you had to part with everything else, but you could keep one, which would you keep?
Probably, oh, a cool cat that back in when I just got into NFTs, I only had like artists on my timeline, right? I wasn't collecting any profile pictures, nothing for I think 3-4 months. My entire timeline was just artists, 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 artworks. And then I got Twitter Spaces just came up, and on one of those spaces, it was hosted by Deez, his Lindy Walks, and I really enjoyed it. And we were talking so much there. And one day, Lee came up and he talked about cool cats. They just came up, and he gifted me one. And then that's how my profile picture collecting journey started. I later on I collected more cool cats, wrote them to like 15 years, run them back, and finally sold it this winter to claim my tax losses. But like this one cool cat, this one gift that he gave me, I'm keeping it forever, and until, obviously, don't say forever, like if medical emergency come up, like if something big. But I cherish it and love it because of the way how this trading journey started.
Oh, that's nice. I like it. Okay, well, look, Arina, thank you so much. Really wonderful answers to my questions. It's been really lovely to get to know you a little bit better. Doug, I wondered if you had a question for Arina.
Yes, thanks for bringing me up and letting me ask another question. Arina, thank you for sharing so much. I love your energy and your vibe and your openness. You actually shared a lot with us personally, and I hope I don't dig too deep, but I wanted to go back to the beginning where you mentioned you were doing art and your therapist had encouraged it, or at least was going hand in hand. And so I'm kind of curious about the topic of like art therapy, and I've used art myself to cheer myself up. A lot of my characters actually sometimes come about spontaneously when I just need to make myself laugh. I'll draw something really silly or a funny face. And also, you've had so many transitions in your life, which are really interesting and different and new and exciting and experimental. And so, is art transforming you? Are you transforming your art? Are you doing therapy with your art? Are you exploring, like, how does all this mix and match? And maybe there's no, maybe I don't have a specific question, but just want to hear a little bit more on this topic. Thank you.
Well, firstly, I love your art.
Oh,
I've been
thank you.
following you for a while. It's incredible. I love it. Um, right now, I got to the point of being an artist for doing it for so many years, where I kind of differentiate. I can at least see it where I do art to heal my soul, like as we always heal our souls when we paint or create, but like where I do it is like a scream of like I cannot hold it inside anymore. This is it. Like I cannot process some emotions. This is it. It's like too much, versus my more of like a commercial stuff or like a commissions where I'm not putting too much of my pain, or like I always try to put joy, but like my pain I not putting it into a like a commission work or like certain pieces. And before, when I just started creating, like back in the day, my first 2 3 4 years of creating art, that was a pure outburst of like healing, of like the pain I was going through, because I had troubles processing my emotions. I would never like cry in front of my parents, for example. Like I was very closed off, and I for the longest I couldn't understand what I was painting. Like I would paint, and then a couple years I look back at it. I'm like, oh, that's what it means, because that was just like a scream outburst, and it was so raw, which is also makes it beautiful. But right now I got enough experience maybe to control it, or at least to try to control it, and at least to see where and what's happening.
Wow, that's so awesome. Thank you. That's exactly what I was hoping to hear. It's so beautiful. I think art is so powerful in so many different ways, from healing to transforming to inspiration to just getting messages out, and also just processing. And sometimes it's like you said, we don't even know what we're processing. We're just letting it out. And I think that's so fun. And that kind of goes back to what Ben was saying too, about just, the space lets you be wild and fun and creative, and I think if anything, the thing to take that I got from today is just like there's just so much. You're a ball of creativity, and like you're exploding with creativity and excitement and feelings and meaning. And I love that. I love art that has that, and I totally feel that and see that in your art. So thank you for putting yourself out into the world like that for us to be inspired by and to enjoy. So cheers.
Thank you so much for your question.
Yes, and I hope to see you in space
Ben,
soon.
yeah, Ben, I just realized right now, for at least last couple months, my favorite fictional character was Pepe. It's
Of
Pepe, Ben.
course.
Took me a
Oh
while,
my
because normally
goodness.
what I do for like spaces, I even if like people would send me questions, I briefly read it, but I try to do it very like on a go, so it would be more natural, more me at the moment. And that's why I'm like, all of a sudden it came. It's
Of
Pepe.
course. Of course. And I love how people have been able to like claim Pepe in the space and transform any kind of like nonsense messaging behind the frog and actually just turn it into a symbol for all in the space. And if anyone wants to argue about that, come at me. But yes, I agree. And a great character. Love it. Doug, terrific question. Thank you so much. Always so insightful. I will just say very quickly, anyone, audio galleries, community members, just be really, really careful. We have already had one scammy link in our Discord, which the very vigilant and quick trigger fingers of Sigrid, she's managed to get rid of and has replaced with a special message in there just informing people to use official links. But please, like, you don't need to follow a link really anyway. Just go to OpenSea homepage and it's there for all to see in the notable collections. So yeah, please don't fall foul of any nonsense. That's really, really important. Look, I wondered if anyone else wanted to come up and say anything or ask Arina anything. While I do that, Tamika, how are you?
I'm good. I just made it in.
Yay! Well, I'm glad you're in out of the rain. I hope your pooch is safe also.
Yeah, she's happy to be away from all
Awesome. I'm curious because obviously been working now. This is the second drop that we've done after Sarah with timepieces. Thank you so much for your contribution this week to our marketing efforts and really like helping promote this space. I'm curious, like obviously, you know, how are you finding it and what's your take on everything we've gone through today?
Oh, I mean, I think Arina is an incredible artist. And I mean, just as someone who is consistently concentrating on how I can be intentional about increasing my own generational wealth, I definitely connected to the piece in that regard as well. Because I think in a lot of ways, we are all trying to figure out what wave will kind of take us to the next level, what opportunity will be that change, right? What spark will be the thing that allows us to go in a different direction. And so when Arina offered up this piece, the first thing I thought of and the first thing I connected to was just that overall message, right? That there is another opportunity coming. There is another train coming. We continue to thrive and grow in our own right, while also being able to then that allows us to be able to be ready for the next opportunity. So I'm super excited. I can't wait to see how this open edition does. Arina is a fantastic artist. Anyone in this space would be lucky to have one of her pieces as part of their collection. And I can't wait. It's been an incredible week. Some really positive sentiments for Arina, and I think that she's going to do fantastically, and this piece is going to be fantastically received.
Thank you, Tamika. I agree with all of your words there. Thank you for putting it so eloquently. Well, look, guys, we are running out of time. I like to cap these at about the hour mark because then they become a podcast that people actually want to listen to. So I am going to say, Arina, thank you so much for coming up and sharing your story, sharing your inspiration, sharing your artwork, and just being so much fun. It's a word that Maya from Time and I were talking about yesterday. Fun. It's such an important element that perhaps sometimes we forget about in this space. And I think everything we do here should really be about like collecting and trading and creating and having fun alongside it. And so, Arina, I think you embody that. So thank you so much for coming up and sharing everything with us today.
Thank you so much for hosting, and thank you for Timepieces and Audio Galleries and OpenSea for putting it all together. And that you doing beautiful job and empowering so many people, and thank you for that.
Very, very grateful, and thank you for that. Yeah, so folks, once again, head to OpenSea homepage, notable collections. It's there. It's the first piece. It's called Missed Yet Another Generational Wealth Train by ArinaBB. A beautiful piece, 0.015 ETH, already at like almost 150 minted. So really, really pleased about that. Thank you to anyone who's already joined in. Please go check it out. It's live for another 71.5 hours. In the meantime, next week we are back with Karen Jersic. Karen and I were hanging out earlier in a Google Meet. We were putting together the finishing touches on her amazing generative collection, which we're doing next week, called Goofballs. Can't wait for you to see that. Karen has been working tirelessly on this for the past few months. Every single trait in this entire collection has been handmade using clay and then photographed and then uploaded and hand painted. It is a wild collection of goofballs and nostalgia, and I know that she can't wait to share it with you. I can't wait to share it with you too. So we'll start pushing that probably over the weekend at some point. But right now, let's focus on the wonderful Arina. I will look forward to communicating with you all during next week. Thank you so much, everyone, for your help. Please check out the gallery editions. Oh my gosh, I hate pushing so many things. Oh, and Munch and Mombo next week, some fun happening. So any holders of Munch and Mombo who are Doug's amazing characters that are the audio gallery mascots, we've got something really cool coming up. In the meantime, let's just go back to that same track because I love it so much. Everyone, have a happy weekend. GM, everyone. Bye-bye. This is Audio Galleries. Conversations. Connecting collectors and art enthusiasts.